Suggestion none. Leopold II was born on April 9, 1835 in Brussels, Belgium. He was the second son of Leopold I, the first king of the Belgians, and Louise of Orleans. From a young age, Leopold II was groomed for leadership, receiving a rigorous education that included military training and studies in various subjects, such as history, geography, and languages. His upbringing was steeped in the values of European aristocracy, which emphasized duty, power, and the divine right of kings. He ascended to the throne on December 17, 1865, following the death of his father, and reigned until his own death on December 17, 1909. During his reign, Leopold II was determined to elevate Belgium's status on the world stage, and he saw colonial expansion as the key to achieving this goal. While he is a significant figure in European history, it's his brutal exploitation of the Congo Free State that defines his legacy. Leopold II's interest in Africa was piqued by the reports of explorers such as Henry Morton Stanley, who described the vast and resource-rich lands of Central Africa. In 1876, Leopold convened the Brussels Geographic Conference, ostensibly to promote scientific exploration and humanitarian efforts in Africa. However, his true intentions were far more sinister. He sought to carve out a personal empire in Africa, one that would bring him immense wealth and power. Through a series of cunning diplomatic maneuvers and outright deceit, Leopold managed to gain international recognition for his control over the Congo Free State at the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. This vast territory, approximately 76 times the size of Belgium, was now his personal fiefdom. Leopold's imperialist ambitions drove him to personally control the Congo Free State, a vast territory in Central Africa. He presented himself as a benevolent ruler, claiming that his primary goal was to bring civilization, Christianity, and commerce to the African people. In reality, his administration was focused on the ruthless extraction of resources, particularly rubber and ivory. The Congo Free State was not a Belgian colony, but a private enterprise owned by Leopold II. He established a complex and brutal system of exploitation, using a private army known as the Force Publique to enforce his rule. This army, composed of European officers and African soldiers, was notorious for its brutality and efficiency in maintaining control over the local population. His philosophy was clear. European powers had the right and duty to occupy and exploit African lands, masked under the guise of enlightenment and development. This belief was rooted in the broader context of 19th century European imperialism, which justified colonial expansion as a civilizing mission. Leopold II was a master of propaganda, using philanthropic rhetoric to mask his true intentions. He established the International African Association, a front organization that purported to promote humanitarian efforts in Africa, but was, in fact, a tool for his imperial ambitions. Through this organization, he secured funding and support from various European powers, all the while concealing the true nature of his activities in the Congo. In reality, Leopold's rule was pragmatic and ruthless, focusing solely on extracting immense profits. The Congo Free State's economy was built on the forced labor of the Congolese people, who were compelled to collect rubber and other valuable resources under the threat of violence. The demand for rubber skyrocketed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, driven by the burgeoning automobile industry and the invention of the pneumatic tire. Leopold II capitalized on this demand, implementing a quota system that required villages to produce a certain amount of rubber. Failure to meet these quotas resulted in severe punishment, including beatings, mutilations, and executions. The profits from this exploitation flowed directly into Leopold's coffers, funding his lavish lifestyle and grand architectural projects in Belgium. Under Leopold's administration, the Congo Free State became a site of unimaginable atrocities. The forced labor system was enforced with extreme brutality, and the Congolese people suffered immensely under the yoke of Leopold's regime. The Force Publique, tasked with maintaining order and ensuring the collection of rubber, employed terror as a tool of control. Soldiers were instructed to cut off the hands of those who failed to meet their rubber quotas, a practice that became a gruesome symbol of Leopold's reign. Entire villages were destroyed, and countless lives were lost in the pursuit of profit. The human cost of Leopold's exploitation was staggering, with estimates of the death toll ranging from 10 to 15 million people. He established a system of forced labor to extract rubber and other valuable resources. The Congolese people were subjected to grueling work conditions, often toiling for long hours in dangerous and unhealthy environments. The rubber collection process was particularly arduous, requiring workers to climb trees and tap the rubber vines, a task that was both physically demanding and hazardous. Those who resisted or attempted to escape were met with swift and brutal retribution. The forced labor system extended beyond rubber collection to other industries, including mining and agriculture, further entrenching the exploitation of the Congolese people. To enforce labor and maintain control, his regime employed extreme violence, including the horrific practice of amputating the hands of those who failed to meet production quotas. The results were catastrophic. The mutilation of hands became a widespread and systematic practice, used both as a punishment and as a means of instilling fear among the population. The severed hands were often collected and presented as proof of the soldiers' efficiency in enforcing the quotas. This gruesome practice left a lasting scar on the Congolese people, both physically and psychologically. The violence extended beyond mutilation, with reports of widespread beatings, rapes, and massacres perpetrated by the Force Publique and other agents of Leopold's regime. Millions of Congolese people perished from overwork, violence, and the abysmal living conditions imposed by Leopold's regime. The combination of forced labor, brutal punishment, and inadequate living conditions created a humanitarian crisis of unprecedented proportions. The Congolese people were deprived of their basic rights and subjected to a regime of terror and exploitation. The impact on the population was devastating, with entire communities decimated and traditional ways of life disrupted. The social fabric of the Congo was torn apart, leaving a legacy of trauma and suffering that would endure for generations. His reign in the Congo is a dark chapter in the history of African colonialism, marking him as one of the most notorious tyrants. The atrocities committed under Leopold's rule eventually drew international condemnation, leading to a global outcry against the abuses in the Congo Free State. Missionaries, journalists, and activists played a crucial role in exposing the horrors of Leopold's regime, bringing the plight of the Congolese people to the attention of the world. Figures such as George Washington Williams, Edie Morel, and Roger Casement were instrumental in documenting and publicizing the atrocities, leading to a growing movement for reform and accountability. Leopold II's legacy is a stark reminder of the brutal realities of colonial exploitation. The international pressure eventually forced Leopold to relinquish control of the Congo Free State, and in 1908, the territory was annexed by the Belgian government, becoming the Belgian Congo. While the transfer of power brought some improvements, the legacy of exploitation and violence continued to haunt the region. The scars of Leopold's rule were deeply etched into the fabric of Congolese society, and the impact of his exploitation reverberated through the subsequent decades of colonial rule and beyond. The story of Leopold II and the Congo Free State serves as a powerful testament to the destructive consequences of unchecked imperial ambition and the enduring human cost of colonialism. To learn more about history's infamous figures, like and subscribe. The story of Leopold II is a chilling reminder of the capacity for human cruelty and the importance of remembering and learning from the past. By studying the dark chapters of history, we can better understand the forces that shape our world and work towards a more just and equitable future. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of history's most notorious figures and events.